Hey adventurers, so today is going to be another book review. This is going to be for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There by Lewis Carroll. These books are whimsy, they're fantasy, they're children's stories in many ways, but they're also classics. Before I get into the main body of my review though here, I'd just quickly like to say if you like what you're seeing from an Erudite adventure, we'd really appreciate it if you would like, comment, and subscribe. So this duology of short novels by Lewis Carroll is one of the most well-known pieces of literature. Even if you've never read the books or watched any of the adaptations, you know the story or are likely to know parts of it at least. It is really ingrained in our pop culture to the point that many people don't realize they're referencing it when talking about things like A Cheshire Smile or The Queen of Hearts or The Mad Hatter, and oftentimes people do know that they're referencing it, or in the back of their mind they realize it, but they maybe just don't intentionally do it, I don't know. But there's lots of people do know that it comes from these stories and lots of people don't. But for as well known and as well loved as this series is, I'd not read them until now. And though it's taken me far too long to get to them, I'm super glad to finally have read them. There isn't really a ton I can say in terms of continuity of the stories, especially between the two books, or really how the worlds work, because they don't have a lot of that. There's kind of intentionally, you don't know how these worlds work. They're whimsy and dreamlike and ever-changing and crazy, and it serves to immerse you in this story of a young girl going on just the wildest adventures. Also, although the books imply that these adventures were both just dreams, the way that the stories work and the magic, if you will, it leaves a level of ambiguity to the stories that doesn't really leave you questioning, but it allows for you to decide for yourself. It's up for interpretation, I guess, as to whether you believe that Alice had a true magical adventure or if it was just an adventure of her imagination. I really loved both of these stories, though they were super fun and different, and I don't really read this type of thing, as most of what I read tends to have a lot more rigidity to it. But I find the randomness of these books to be refreshing at times. I think to me though, one of the most interesting things that I found about these books as I was reading them was that although everybody refers to them both being set in Wonderland, only the first book actually references it as being Wonderland. Obviously the title of it is Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. But the second book is not that, it's Through the Looking Glass, it's the land through the looking glass. And it's likely that, yes, they probably were both intended to be set in Wonderland or something like that, and maybe Lewis Carroll addressed this at one point, but I don't know that because I haven't looked into it that much. But I just found it interesting that I never saw any reference to in Through the Looking Glass to it being Wonderland itself. Again, it's highly likely that I have missed this at some point. I missed a phrase or something when I was reading, or rather listening to the book, and so at that point this would just be a moot point anyways. But it's just still interesting to me that I read both the books, and that's one of the things that I noticed. There's lots of other things that were great about it and that I noticed as well, but that's just one of the ones that I did. Overall though, these stories were just a fantastic breath of fresh air, even though they're classics, and I'm very glad to have finally gotten to read them. So that is my reviews for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and then Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. So thank you guys for watching an Erudite Adventure. We post videos every Monday and Thursday and have our social medias linked in the description down below. We'll see you guys again soon. Stay warm.